Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A show, Q&A podcast on Inside the Birds platform YouTube channel. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to another week. We appreciate your support. To everyone that's making the Q&A show possible, to Adam and Jeff and Hunter and Josh and everyone that's responsible. Thank you guys, and thank you again and again and again. I'm your boy, Jason Avant. I have my main man here, Quintin Mikell. Quintin, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be back. Another crazy weekend, so we'll get into that in a second. But I want to say thank you to everyone for supporting us and always, making comments and showing us love, man. We really appreciate it. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys, everyone that is responsible for sending your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Again, insidethebirds@gmail.com. So thank you guys for doing that. We had a great show last week, a lot of feedback. This week, we have a lot of questions that we have to get to. And in the future, we want you guys just to know, I'm going to say this at the beginning of the show. I'm going to say it at the end of the show. Next week will be our last show. So make sure that you send your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. We want to answer as many questions as we possibly can next week. And we want to build the show for next week based on you guys' questioning. So the last show of the season, not period, just the last show of 2021-22 season. We will be back on Inside the Birds platform. We will be back. So let everyone know that we enjoy doing this. But make sure that you send your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com because this will be the season finale episode next week. And we want to tailor that show around you guys' questions. So do that. Q, let's get into the championship round, conference championship round. Big surprise on the AFC side, really big surprise. I did not think the Kansas City Chiefs would lose that game, though. I knew that Joe Burrow had it in him to do it, but it seemed like it was a catastrophic letdown. Some things that I've seen from Patrick Mahomes that I've never seen before in that moment, and it was very, very bizarre, very weird. Made me think, is he hurt or something like that? But I do know that he wasn't himself in that second half. And it started with that god-awful 5 seconds left in the half, throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, not getting points, and everything went down after that. Let's talk about that. What happened with Patrick Mahomes? First half, second half, what happened? Was Patrick Mahomes, what happened?
Man, I don't know. I agree with you. I think, that little feedback too. I think you're right. It seems like there was a point in the first half when there was a drive and he took off running and he took a shot on the side. And at first I'm like, man, that didn't look too good. And I'm wondering now, seeing what happened that second half, if he actually was injured on that play and if he actually was, because he came out the second half and was completely a different player. And I feel like, he tends to always try to look for the huge play instead of taking what the defense gives you. He's always kind of been that way, but I can't put my finger on it. He just looked completely different, completely lost. I know, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, Lou, or I forgot how you say his name, Anarumo, or however you say it, but he's a second half. I think he's a second half type of defensive coordinator. Whatever you do in the first half, he'll be able to adjust to in the second half. So I think the second half they started to drop more in coverage and change up the looks. But I don't know. I just feel like he just kind of lost his way and just started looking for the huge play. And you see when he does that, instead of taking what the defense gives you, he is falling time and time again.
Yeah, it was a bizarre second half for me. Like I said, so you guys that understand when you're right before half and you're trying to get points, but you don't have timeouts, right? The Chiefs had 3 cracks from inside the 5 or so to get points, right? So here's the rules. If it's 5 seconds, 6 seconds, or under, somewhere in that range, you look for the first read and you throw the ball away immediately, right? You look for the first read's not there, you got to throw it out. Patrick Mahomes looked first read, second read, and then threw it into the flat. At that point, you can't throw it out of the back of the end zone because the longer the ball is in the air, right? Because they're going to kill it when the ball touches something. They not when it goes out the back of the end zone, when it touches something, right? So a few more seconds is going to go off. So the best thing that Patrick Mahomes could have did in that moment was to throw that ball at Tyreek Hill's feet. That's the best thing that he could have did, was throw it in the ground. And as soon as the ball hits the ground, the clock is stopped at that moment. They may have had 1 second, maybe 2 seconds left, probably 1 second, and would have been able to get points. But that play was just a snowball effect going downhill. Coming out of halftime, Patrick Mahomes goes 3 for 10 to start and didn't get better after that. He just started missing guys. And I don't know if that's because of the hit that Q's talking about. I don't know if it's because of, now I will say that the defensive, the second half defense did change. They did drop more in coverage. They did go high, a high percentage, two safety middle, not two safety middles, two safeties, right? Which was a little bit different from first half when they were, shadowing people. But still, with that being said, though it was a different game plan, getting down here, he had time. It wasn't like the offensive line was blocking terrible. They weren't. They got a little pressure late in the fourth quarter, but they didn't have as many opportunities. And that's why you never let the game get that close. You never let the game get that close. And what I mean by that is that the Bengals had the ball for the first 8 or 9 minutes of the fourth quarter. Like, you come out and you lay an egg in the third quarter, you don't know if you're going to get the ball because that's the same thing that happened in the regular season, right? 8-9 minute drive takes up. Now you don't get 3 cracks at it. You only get 1. And you guys weren't in rhythm at that time, and it didn't work out. So I've never seen Patrick Mahomes look so human, and I've never seen someone of his caliber and him as a player look scared in a moment. The air was out of the arena. All the momentum was on the side of the Bengals, and Patrick Mahomes looked like he had deer, like a deer in the headlights. Just looked very, very scared in that moment. And that's the first time I've ever seen it. And I was like, dude, they're going to lose this game. I said in the third quarter, I was like, dude, they're losing this game. And sure enough, he ended up losing the game.
I mean, he dropped back the one time, and I mean, he had. It was like 15 seconds. It felt like it was 15 seconds. I'm like, either somebody's got to come open, or you got to throw the ball away. I mean, it just looked like he just refuses to give up on the play. He just absolutely refuses to say, let's live the fight. Let's live the fight another day. And I agree with you. He looked very, very human. He looked very, very confused at times, and that's very uncharacteristic of him.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and whoever is the GM for the Bengals needs a lot of praise. Like, to get these young dudes, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, you bring in Mike Hilton, which is one of the premier nickels in the league that nobody gives credit to. The guy is a freaking stinking football player, the nickel for the Bengals. Like, one of the best nickels I've ever seen as far as just his reaction time and knowing what to do in coverage, cover Kelsey on some critical plays and late in that game. A couple on Pringle and other guys late in that game that prevented some third downs conversion, right? Then you have the best middle of the field ball hawking safety in the league with the Bengals with Bates. It just is. And it came down to a play in overtime where Patrick Mahomes got to know the other team's personnel. Most of the time, 99% of the time, a free safety on Tyreek Hill, you put it up there for him. But you got to know who you're playing against. Jesse Bates will pick the ball and get his hand on the ball and make a play 100% of the time because he has ball skills like that. He's basically Trayvon Diggs at safety. And it was just one of those moments in time when the ball went up in the air and I saw what Jesse Bates was. I was like, this can't be good because apparently you don't respect what you see on film. I had to break this dude down last year when I was with the Eagles, and I came out saying he's the best safety in football.
Wow.
Yeah, and he played that like a receiver would play. He couldn't pick it, but he didn't touch the receiver at all. Pop, hit it, tip drill.
Yep.
Perfect safety play.
Right between the hands, tapped it.
Yeah. So in that moment, you got to know the other team's personnel. You got to know, like, I know it's Tyreek Hill, but you got to. It's like Ed Reed back there. You just don't try. Certain dudes, you just don't try in a one-on-one situation. I don't care who it is. If Ed Reed can get there, I'm not throwing it up to Megatron because Ed Reed can get there.
Yeah.
Well, so you got
on that play. It was even double team. It was double team, right? On that
it
play.
was a double team. Yeah, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He didn't have to at all, and just went, like you said, being greedy, and that play ended up costing him the game. I think Big Red had something to do with this because, 4 straight, went to the Super Bowl twice, got knocked out. I definitely think that I don't put this game on Big Red. I put the New England, the first game, the first AFC Championship game, the one that they were winning the ball game, and New England came back. That's the one when D Ford was offsides. That was 4 years ago. You remember when D Ford was offsides, and and they got a pick. You remember that one?
I remember that.
Yeah,
God, that was like yesterday. That was 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago.
Wow.
That play 4 years ago, that was on Big Red because they just had a letdown. They had that game won. This one here, I thought there was footballs to be caught, plays to be made, and his guys just didn't execute at the end of that game.
I wouldn't put this one solely on Andy. I do think though they could have helped themselves if they ran the ball a little more. I mean, we're talking 12 carries for McKinnon. Yeah, 12 carries for McKinnon. Edwards-Helaire, 6 carries. And most of those came in the first half. Came out in the second half. And I understand, the game was getting tighter. I understand, the possession time wasn't there. But, when your quarterback's struggling a little bit, and especially when teams are dropping 8 in the coverage, and sometimes, just playing straight zone all the way back to the end zone, you gotta start attacking. You gotta take advantage of what the team's giving you. So, maybe not so much Andy. Maybe, you can put this one on the enemy. But I think if they would have came out and, second half when they realized that, the adjustment for the Bengals was to start playing more coverage, you got to take advantage. And it doesn't have to be, just pounded up football. You just got to figure out a way to get the ball in the short passing games to your playmakers instead of trying to go for the
juggler every
big
time.
Shots. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's got to be. You got to figure that out. So for that aspect, I put that on the coaching staff. They've got to adjust better there.
Well, coach is not going to run the ball too much, but yes. Now listen. So here's the thing that makes Q's point very valid, and I agree with you that there has to be a half on Coach Reed. The reason I say that is this: you're averaging 5.8 yards a carry running the ball. 24 rushes, 139 yards, almost 6 yards a carry. And you got the lead going into halftime, and you're not pounding it.
Yeah.
When you have that opportunity, you know what I mean? You have an opportunity. You gotta like kill some clock. Your guy is hot. Your guy is cold. Let me figure out a way to help him out.
But
so,
then,
I agree.
I agree. Even the first half, though, they were hot because they were running the ball. And listen, I've been on the teams we've been on the same teams with them before, and I understand. I just know Andy. He gets really pass happy at times, and it's just frustrating because it's like, okay, you were running the ball the first half pretty well, and it was working, and you're getting in the passing game. It sets up each other. So let's continue with that. But I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's frustrating. I take the Chiefs to win, man.
Me too. I want them to win. I was going to the Super Bowl and everything. I already looked at LA tickets and price. I'm making calls. Where can I get into? Am I doing Radio Row? I'm Chiefs out, you know, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, man, third quarter, I'm like, man, ruin my trip to LA. I call Omar Gaither because you know he works with the trust. And I said,
Yeah.
Omar, I was like, you going to the Super Bowl? He's like, no, I can't go this year. I was like, man, I was going to go, but the Chiefs lost. And you ain't going, I'm not going at all. You're not going. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
gee.
but yeah, they hurt my heart. Joe Burrow. We just having that discussion. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Who you got? Joe is cool.
Listen, man.
Joe's cool, and the thing about him is the dude gets hit a bunch. Him getting out of that sack may have been the biggest. That may have been the biggest play in the game. Him getting out of the sack in the fourth quarter to extend the drive in order to go in. Oh my gosh, I was so livid with Chris Jones for not making that sack. I'm like, dude, you got to make. Whenever a quarterback gets out of that play, you might as well just chalk up a touchdown. It's like history wise. Whenever they make one of those great escapes, it never ends good.
Never.
But yeah, but what do you think about Joe Burrow?
Yeah, man, I
think he the real deal or Carson Wentz type the season 2017.
He the real deal because he's been doing this.
I'm calling whoever put this question. I'm calling out whoever put this question in here about. I'm calling out whoever put this in here. The reason is because Joe Burrow hasn't changed. When he played last year, he was balling. He doesn't miss open guys that often, just doesn't. He's the same consistent player. I can't point to a season with Carson Wentz where there wasn't up and downs, right?
Yeah.
Even in the Super Bowl year, like where there's ups and downs, where he goes through games or phases where he can't hit guys and guys, frustrated and things of that nature. There's always Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. With Joe Burrow, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what you've been getting for a long time. That's the thing. Like he's been doing it for a long time, and he's got so much confidence and swagger to him. Like he's got the it factor, man. And listen, I wasn't a huge believer at first. Then his first season, I was like, oh, all right. Then he got hurt earlier in the season. I'm like, all right. Then he hit to this playoff run. I'm like, okay, he's that dude. So
that boy, he has confidence. He has confidence. He has it. Based on his drip, based on his clothes, they say it was a meme that's like Joe Burrow been hanging out in Baton Rouge too long. With the chain, the fur coat. I was like, boy, he out there with NBA young boy, looking like they're home. Baton Rouge.
Hey man, they taught him well down
Hey,
there.
funny. But no, this is who he is. And I think the Chiefs let him off the hook, but with that being said, some timely throws, some timely ones. The ones to T. Higgins were backbreakers on some third downs in the fourth quarters, like ball on the money. Guys draped around arms, NFL catches, NFL throws, not much window, room for error. He made the throws. Like, what can you say about the man? He made the throws.
And I was impressed too. I was impressed with him early. I think it was second half, and Tony Romo kind of highlighted this. But he, I noticed Spagnuolo's defense. I played in it for years, and he was able to point out the blitz. And Tony Romo highlighted, like he saw the blitz come from the side, and he knew exactly where the dropout was going to be on the opposite side. And he's still a young player, so watching him and his maturity and seeing him being able to stand at the line, even in shotgun, and point out where the blitz is coming, switch the line to that side, and be able to understand where the dropout is going. Like that doesn't come within the first 2 years normally. Like it takes a couple years to really develop that, and to see him at such a high level, understanding the defense that he's seeing, understanding where to throw the ball, how to throw the ball, which is important too, and picking the right spots. I mean, it's just he's far beyond where I think he would have been at this point. I mean, he's definitely got it, man. He's gonna be something special.
That's you just spoke of like, and I don't think you say to is amen. Like it is nothing else you can say. It's just the kid is beyond his years, and I just got to give like a lot of props to Joe Brady and what they did at LSU, being able to play in that conference and have advanced NFL type of coaches and defenses and all of those things. And some guys can make it work and figure it out on the fly, and still be like a touch behind. And then there's guys that just pick it up and can understand it. Like there's guys that are football players that can translate what they're hearing in the classroom and see it in the game. And then there's a bunch of guys that can see everything on paper, but never can correlate it, never can translate it onto the field the proper way. Joe Burrow is a ball player. Yeah, I've studied this, but I can see it happening as well. It doesn't look different for me when the defense is moving. I can figure that part out, and that's who he is, and it's a good thing to see, especially with Tom Brady going, this week. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But Bengals defense doesn't have a bunch of superstars, but it has been really good this postseason. And like I said, I named a few yes, the Bengals they do not have a Micah Parsons or Aaron Donald or Tyrann Mathieu. They don't have a guy that you can point out and that everyone knows. And part of that is because they're in Cincinnati. Like, yes, they have stars in Joe Burrow and they have, Jamar Chase and others, but you don't get down to their stars because it's Cincinnati. No one covers Cincinnati football. It just doesn't. So we just don't know them. Doesn't mean that they don't have ball players. Like I said, Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in the league. Nobody knows that at all because he's in Cincinnati. But if he was in Dallas or if he was in LA or one of these bigger markets, Chicago, everyone would know him. He'll be a household name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, to add to that too, I think one of the good things that I like seeing about this defense and why I think that they're so good is that they play as a unit. They play together. They understand where they're supposed to be. And to me, one of the most underrated parts of playing in this NFL is they play hard, man. I mean, they don't give up. That D line,
don't give up.
He was back there for like 5-6 seconds. A lot of times, D linemen, they get tired. They start turning dancing bears. They just like, all right, man,
just hurry up, throw the ball,
just throw it so we can be done. I mean, they was fighting the entire play. We had I forget, was it Hubbard who was dropping in the coverage on one play and just said, "Screw it, I'm running." He dropped out of coverage and he came after, and that's when he got the fumble on Mahomes. So that's another thing that really is attributed to the success. They don't have superstars like you're saying, like name brand stars. They got some stars, but they also got guys that play well together. They got guys that are well coached and guys that play hard and hungry.
The thing that they have, like, you don't know about their superstars, but they have a lot of solid. They don't have any weaknesses. They have solid players. They don't have guys that you can just pick on from. Who do you have?
There's one.
Who? Oh, Eli Apple.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Eli Apple. Besides Eli Apple. Yeah, so sorry. I knew it right away when you said it too. But Chidobe Awuzie, Eli Apple, you can get after and pick on a little bit, but he's not terrible. He's not terrible. He's bad, but he's not terrible. Maybe Eli Apple is the weak link, but you still got Von Bell, who's a solid player. You got Jesse Bates, which is a Pro Bowl player. You got Chidobe Awuzie, which is, we know him, and he's a solid player from Dallas a couple years ago. All linebackers are solid players, and the defensive line are just okay, but they're all solid. They play hard, and maybe that's the remedy. You get a bunch of guys that are B-level players, right? C+ B-level players, and all of them play hard. And you add in, one real like I think is a superstar, and Jesse Bates, like I think, and you go in the Super Bowl. What can you say? And with an offense that can put up, 300-400 yards whenever they feel like it, that's a good remedy.
That's the formula. Let's do it.
All right. All right, let's go. Let's transition to the NFC. Let's transition to NFC games. Hard fought game. Surprising, but it's not surprising. The 49ers made this much more of a game than I thought it would be. I know that they've won the previous 6 games, but when it gets to this like magnitude and the star power that the Rams have, like I don't know if there's been an NFL team since like the Patriots when they lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants. What was that? What year was that? 2007?
I think
2006,
so.
2007, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Right there, that 2007, 2008. Yeah, 2007. It was 2007, 2008. Playoff. This Rams team may be the most talented team since that team in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
like
by far, yeah.
Just in general, like you don't see a more talented team than what the Rams. You have 2 Hall of Famers on the D line. Von Miller is a Hall of Famer. Aaron Donald is a Hall of Famer, and then you add in Floyd, who's been to the Pro Bowl. That's on one defensive line, right? That's one defensive line, right? Then you have Eric Weddle, who's played 1,000 football games, that was on his couch chilling. Oh, you want me to come in? I'll do that for this Super Bowl ring. But he's played in 1,000,000 football games, right? Yep. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's the best corner in football, arguably, one through 3. Right? You got Nick Scott, you got a bunch of other guys out there that are solid football players. And that's just on the defensive side. We're not talking about Matthew Stafford. We're not talking about Cooper Kupp, OBJ. Von Jefferson will be starting on most of the teams in the National Football League. Oh, by the way, their second best receiver, Rashawn Woods, is out right now.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Stellar offensive line play. Like they have a brick. And so I didn't think the game would be this close, but the 49ers have such great coaching. Kyle Shanahan, Rich Scangarello, like there's a bunch of guys on that offense. D'Amico, Daryl Tapp. There's a bunch of guys. They have such great coaching that they are able to stay in these football games. So I thought it was a very, very intriguing game. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I agree. It was from start to finish. It was just an exciting game. All my buddies that we talked to, a lot of them are Niner fans. Oh, we got this. We didn't beat them 6 times in a row. And I'm saying, okay, but it's hard. It's hard enough to beat a team, 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
You think the Rams team hasn't heard that? As good as they are all week, all they've been hearing is they didn't lost 6 games in a row. So I thought right there, I'm like, okay, this team's going to come out ready to go. And they sure enough did. And from the start to finish, I just thought both sides just played phenomenal games. I think I agree with you. The coaching staff for the Niners is just far above, to get that team to the level that they got and to almost end up in a Super Bowl just shows how good a coaching staff they are. Yeah. And for the first half of that game, I felt like the Rams team kind of underwhelmed coaching wise. I think the play calling from the Rams, especially on offense, was not up to par. Mm-hmm. And so for me, all around, I mean, I thought it was a good game. I was excited for it. And,
Shanahan is a football. I don't use the word genius on coaches at all. Not much. And I'm not gonna call him a genius, but I will say that I don't know if I trust many other coaches in the NFL calling a game more than Shanahan.
Absolutely.
Like Kyle is unbelievable. And they've had a bunch of guys along that staff. And McVay's been with him. And Zach Taylor's been with them. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of guys that this group of guys know offense. they know offense. They know how to set up players. They know how to get Deebo Samuel the ball, even if you put him at running back, if you put him at receiver. They understand how to manufacture first downs with scheme. A lot of these guys are not break you down receivers that's going to go out there and uncover on Jalen Ramsey. They're just not. But once you start putting people in motion, you start putting Trent Smith in motion, doing unbalanced line, and just coming with so much information that it makes the defense slower. And that's what it is. And so when you look at the Eagles offense this year, we're in one spot the entire time because we're playing a game of young coaches and a young quarterback. So there's not much motion. There's not much bunches. There's not much off-balance line. There's not much information for the defense to get through so they can play fast. Defense can play fast because they're looking at the same picture every time. But when you start putting a tight end over here, start putting a receiver this place. Oh, let's put Deebo in the backfield. Oh, let's motion this guy across and let's see what happens when it goes 4 to that side. What are they going to do? Like, there's so much information that you have to be prepared for on defense. Playing the Niners is unbelievable. So I looking at that game and seeing him coach multiple times, I'm always impressed with Kyle Shanahan. Always. Yeah. Cooper Kupp, best receiver in the league.
I think he's. Let me see, who's he going against? Yeah, I have to say he's the best in the league. I would say he's the most complete in the league this year. I wouldn't say. He does everything. He blocks. He. The only thing I haven't seen him do is line up in the backfield and take a handoff. But he catches the ball downfield, he catches intermediate routes, he catches slants, he catches corner routes. He blocks well. I just think overall this year, I think he's the best receiver in football.
I think that's fair. Go ahead. So this year, so I would give Cooper Kupp this year. Now, has he been coming on every year? Yes. This 2021-2022 season, there is no question that Cooper Kupp has been the best receiver in the National Football League. And the numbers back it out. The touchdowns, the receiving yards, been the Triple Crown winner for receivers, almost getting 2,000. All of those things this 2021-22 season, he's the best in football, hands down. Now, the only thing that would cause me to question it if I can see Cooper, because he's schemed open 75, 80% of the time.
True.
Right? And I'm not hating on him. It's a great job by Sean McVay. A guy that can block and can dig out the safety and is gritty and tough only further helps himself out in a passing game, because now when he's in a bunch crack split, he could be there for the run because he's the guy that goes and digs the guys out. He's the guy that can, when he's there, it's not like a red alert because on most of the plays, he's in these reduced splits. Now, that helps you out as a receiver getting open because now you don't see as much press and you get free releases. When I see Cooper Kupp can do what Jamar Chase does, just lines up out there one-on-one and beats people, that's when I'll say, all right, not just this season, but going forward, you have to dethrone Cooper Kupp as the league's best when I start seeing him go one-on-one with no help from the offensive coordinator, no help from motion, no help from anybody else. You just line up against his best and my best, and you win. That's when I'll say Cooper Kupp is the best perennial, just all the time, just receiver. Yeah. And he has that ability to do it because I think Cooper Kupp, because of his technique and because of how fast he is, it's one of those rare times that you get a guy that understands route concepts and technique and has enough speed. He runs a 4.4, but you would think he runs a 4.3. The way that he runs by people is because he has excellent technique too.
Yeah.
You're going to gain an extra 1/10 of a second, extra 2/10 of a second with technique.
Absolutely.
So that's where I am with Cooper Kupp.
Did you see? I got to pause for a second because you made me think about this play when you were talking about digging out the the defensive end. Did you see when they put OBJ in the in the crack split?
Like certain things you just can't do as an offensive coordinator. That was just stupid, right? You just like there were some times where the coaches would do some stuff, like especially on special teams. You remember Lorenzo Alexander?
Yeah.
Because remember, he was a linebacker in Buffalo.
Wait.
But he was a defensive end.
That might have been. I know he is, but that might have been before after. But
yeah. So, but he in Buffalo, but in Washington, he was a defensive end. He wore number 93. And for some reason, thinking Harbaugh made up in his mind that I can block this dude who's 285 pounds, a defensive end, defensive tackle, going full speed for 40 yards, one-on-one. I told him, I put him aside. I was like, Coach, I just don't agree with this game plan. This here doesn't make much sense to me. He's like, oh no, you can do it. And he's not that fast. Sure enough, all that game, all you see is my cleats on the, just me, on my back, cleats in the air the entire game. So just like OBJ, like there's some thankless jobs that they make you do. That's just bad coaching. It made me realize like how sometimes how bad coaching is where they put you on a guy that is that's just totally out of the league, a big body versus a little body. I had to do it a bunch with DeMarcus Ware, but he thought I was nothing, so he didn't pay attention to me too much. So I get a good shot in, a little nat shot on him.
Most time the defense wins, they be laughing when y'all come with a blocker.
If you can get a good, you can knock a few of them out every night. Hines Ward used to tear some people up because he would sneak attack them.
Yeah, man, he was cheating. They got a rule. They got a new rule because of him. Crack back blocking.
Yeah.
Dirty receivers coming back.
Dude, don't blame us. Don't blame us. I think the crack back block should be legalized again, just to be honest with you. I know you don't feel that, but I think it should be. I think it should be.
All right. So Rams got 300 plus. Stafford got Rams got 300 plus from Stafford, 100 plus from Kupp and OBJ, but they barely won. So how did you, like, looking at the game, how do you think that the Niners kept the game so close?
First of all, they're division opponents, right? So the Niners offensive line understood their defensive line and Aaron Donald as much as anybody could ever. Both those guards had hands helping the center the entire time when Aaron Donald was inside. Like they just understood the game plan. They couldn't always and then they had a game plan with Shanahan to get the ball out. Yeah. That's it. They got the ball out. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get sacked the entire game. He threw some bad passes at one point. Jalen Ramsey should have picked him off, and then Eric Weddle got the one that he just flung out there. Right, those were created pressures that could have been sacks, but they didn't get to him because they had game plans to get the ball out. They weren't going down the field. They were getting the ball in their playmakers' hands. And I think that's the key, right? To nullify their defensive line. And then they have solid players with a solid defensive line. You got Fred Warner, you got Bosa, you have Armstead, you have how you say his name? Tart.
Jaquiski Tart.
Yeah, Jaquiski Tart. Yeah, you got Jimmy Ward. You have a bunch of good players on your defense. So that's why the game's close, right? So you can play solid defense against a high-powered offense, not let them get in the end zone. And that's the thing that they did. They got a lot of yards, but they didn't get in the end zone as much as, you would think that the Rams should get in the end zone. And that's what it came down to. Great defensive line play. They had to get the ball out. They couldn't hold on to it forever. And they stopped them in the red zone for majority of the game. And that's it. And they got the ball out of their hand pretty quickly. So I think it was just a formula of them knowing the team that they were going against and having solutions because they've played them so many times. Like there's teams that will destroy you if you haven't had the history with them as much. Like just think of those Cowboys years where they were Super Bowl champions and how the Eagles will play them close in those games because they were so familiar with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's it. How special is Aaron Donald?
Oh man, he's one of a kind. I mean, he's just phenomenal. I think the biggest thing that stands out with him is as big and strong as he is, his quickness and his hands. I mean, the use of his hands and the way he's using them to get off blocks and to get penetration, how he can turn sideways, like he moves.
His bend is crazy.
His bend is insane for a guy that size, and
Mm-hmm.
the only I don't think I've ever seen a defensive end, even as good as Sapp was, and everybody tries to compare it to him. He's in a lane all of his own, and
Yeah.
he's just a phenomenal special talent, and I enjoy watching him play, even though a lot of times you can't see it, and you have to go back and watch the replays to see what he's actually doing, but. His hands are ridiculous. His bend, like you said, is ridiculous, and his strength is just phenomenal. So he's just a fun player to watch for me.
I asked that question to a few guys around, and the thing that, like, as far as like Jason Kelsey and other guys, right, years ago, the thing that makes him special is how strong he is from those guys' standpoint. Like, he's explosive, but he's strong as well, and that combo is very rare. Usually, big, strong guys are not that explosive; they don't have the pop, But he's super explosive and strong. And then you add everything. He has everything that you need as a interior defensive lineman, and he generates a lot of sacks from defensive end.
Yeah,
Just because he's so quick and so strong. Yes, there isn't a player that you can compare to him. I just can't see it. Not that can dominate from the D tackle position and from the edge position. I've seen guys like, Lawrence Taylor dominate from, stand up linebacker and then also defensive end, but not from the D tackle position. Like you don't see a guy dominate the D tackle position and the defensive end position at will whenever he wants to. And if you don't, spend your entire game plan on how to stop him, he'll have 3-4 sacks on
you.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a special talent. He's going to go down as one of the top, I don't know, 10 best defensive players that ever played this game.
Absolutely. Has to be.
But I'm just saying it's a lot of defensive players. Like, it's a
Wait,
lot of
ever?
guys. You got
I'm
talking about ever. He was going to go down as one of the top 10 defensive players ever. That's saying a lot, but I've never seen anything like this from this position. For him to be almost league leader in sacks every year from the D tackle position, it's just you just can't manufacture that.
Yeah.
Who's the second best D tackle in football for most of these years? It's always been like Fletch.
Yeah. Well,
no. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about just in the last 4 or 5 years.
I know, but is JJ Watt considered a D tackle?
No,
or is
JJ, he's a D end,
3-4
outside
DN?
linebacker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you talk about like D tackles, you look at Aaron Donald's number, and we know how dominant Fletch has been over the last 5-6 years. Look at the two's numbers and tell me what you think.
Okay.
Fletch is getting paid $100 million. And a Pro Bowler every year, dominant player. Look at the two's numbers and you tell me what the difference is. They play the same position.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, I feel you on that.
So that's what I think. That's what I think of Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald is a top 10. First ballot
all time. At the position, I agree with you. As a defensive tackle, I agree with you. Top 10 all time. But there's a lot of defensive players in the history. I don't know, man.
He mess around. He's probably gonna, if he plays long enough, he'll probably break the sack record. If he plays he's gonna be close there if he plays long enough. Now I don't know if he can play as long as Bruce Smith did, but so I don't know about that. But you add an extra game into that too, man. Stop. I know I'm reaching you. It may be a little reach for some, but I just think that this dude is that special. That's I think.
He is special.
All right, let's talk about the Rams and Bengals. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I got the Rams, and it's hard. It's hard because it's hard to bet against the Bengals because they for somehow, some way, they just got it. These teams like this, like the Eagles, when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, some teams they just got it. They got that dog in them right now. But there's so many stars on this Rams team. There's so much hunger on this Rams team. It's a home game for the Rams. They got so much firepower. All that stacked up against them. I know they've been overcoming the odds, and I'm probably gonna eat my words here, but I got the Rams winning.
It's hard to pick against the Rams because of how loaded they are. The Bengals are a better football team collectively. The Rams have the star power and can turn it on and make that happen. I gotta go with the Rams at home. I keep saying it, but I do have a feeling that Joe Burrow mess around and shock the world.
Yeah, like it's one of these situations where you got the Rams, but you won't be surprised if the Bengals win.
I may put my bet on the Bengals though, because it's probably gonna make me more money. I'm definitely putting Joe Burrow over 300 yards passing, because if they playing from behind, in order for them to win, he got to do that. Oh, yeah. Right? Because even if they're playing from behind, it should happen. So we'll see. I'm not going to talk about that. That's your DraftKings read.
We'll get to that in a second. All right. Now, I just want to make sure before I get into this read that everybody understands. Okay, 300 plus. But have you watched the Bengals' offensive line?
I have watched it, and this dude still passes. He had the dude had 270 something, 250. What was it last week? Hold on, let me get the stats. I'm gonna pull them up. Just last week, and I'm like,
I saw one play.
I gotta pull it up
where Melvin Ingram did a speed rush.
He had 250 last week, okay. And he doesn't have the best offensive line, and that doesn't look good for the Rams.
That's putting it nicely to say he don't have the best offensive line.
This could be a Joe Burrow save game. Like it can be like a Joe Burrow, like he's the hero getting up from the mud, getting sacked and making plays, or it can be a Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When they got killed, when the Broncos got killed, it could be that too, because their defense line can do that.
I think it's going to end up that way.
Yeah. You think
either way,
be that?
Either way, you got to make sure you bet. So the moment we've been waiting for since September is finally here. In honor of the big game, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? You can experience Super Bowl 56 with the same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code ITB, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code ITB at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Must be 21 and older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only, restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hop on DraftKings, and I'm gonna take that 300 over too. For Burrow. Yeah. You sold me on that, man.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. All right, here we go. Let's get to the second half. Tom Brady retires. After 22 seasons in the NFL, Played till he was 45 like he promised.
Crazy. That's crazy, man.
To me,
45 years old.
to me,
He's
it's
older than
sad.
me.
To me, it's a little sad. It's a little sad. Because I think that Tom, maybe he's just done. Maybe he's just done. He's just done. It's sad to me because Chris Godwin got hurt. Antonio Brown went AWOL. Just a lot of injuries, and so I wanted to see him later in these playoffs. I wanted him a chance to go out with, on top type of thing. And it's a sad because the level we may never see this level of play again. That's in the NBA and people I'm a Jordan fan. Let's get this straight. I'm a Jordan guy. I'm not saying Tom Brady is Michael Jordan because I think that the quarterback position gets protected and you can't assess it like you can other positions. I believe that you should have a quarterback category and then a best player category. I don't think that the quarterback should be considered the best player because they get certain protections that other players do not get. So I think their category should be separated from everybody else. That's number one. But when it comes to how hard it is to win championships, there is no do-overs in the National Football League. You get one shot. If you are not on your A game, that game, you lose. You can't play a best of 5. You can't play a best of 7. You can't do that in this league. You just can't. So therefore, the level of focus that Tom Brady brought to the game and the level of professionalism, the level of attention to detail and burning all the stuff on the outside. I'm focusing on this game. I love this game. It's about football. He definitely is the most dominant quarterback that we have ever seen. And
By far.
What he has done is the hardest to do in any sport.
Yeah.
It's just super hard. You can't stack your team most of the time in national football. It's just hard. He's had some good rosters, but even good rosters don't make it.
Yeah.
And so it's just a sad moment in time for me, just because he is a Michigan guy. I do know him from being at the alumni stuff and all of that. It's a sad time for me because his legacy and how hard he put it in. I know a lot of people don't like him, but you won't find a dude that works harder. You just won't. I remember having a meeting with Josh McDaniels and Dabo, who just got the job for the Giants, and asked him about Tom Brady, and just saying, hey, Tom. I'm like, how does Tom, how does he know so much, and how does he call his own plays, and does he implement plays? It's like, well, Tom, even if we're in week 12 or 13, Tom has seen every game of the opponent, preseason and regular season, the entire gamut, all their plays, and he's with us helping us install plays on Tuesday. Wow. So we can be prepared for Wednesdays. He wants his say so he can put the plays in that he wants, and we respect it because he's seen it all. Wow. It's a different level. It's a different level of commitment. Absolutely. And I'll give you a story. What do you have? And because I'm going to take up all of it.
No, I mean, my story is the only time I've ever come across Tom Brady on the field is as a starter has been when I wasn't with the Eagles. So, when we played them earlier, I was just a special teams guy. I wasn't starting, so I didn't really get any one-on-one reaction or one-on-one action with them. So quick, my stories are quick. The 2 times that I got to face him as a starting safety was when I was with the Rams. 2011 season. We played them. We played the Patriots in London. The game was 45-7. It was over before the first quarter. We had no shot. He came out, and this was around the time when Hernandez was going through not the stuff that happened afterwards, but he was injured and he had left the team and all that stuff. So we weren't even sure if he was coming over to the game in London. So we weren't sure. So we thought, okay, well maybe we'll have a chance. We only have to deal with Gronk, and we came out, scored the first touchdown, thinking, oh, okay, we got this.
We were ready to go. Yeah.
And they just shredded us, man. I mean, Tom dropped. He just started dropping back, handing the ball off, dropping back, short, easy passes like he always does. Dime, like he was just dropping dimes everywhere. I mean, it got to the point where we didn't know what else to call in the secondary. We didn't know what else to do in the secondary because he was just dotting us left and right.
Mm.
So, and then my next game I played against him next year when I was with the Panthers, 2013. Played them on a Monday night, and we ended up winning that game.
I remember that game.
Y'all had a 6-game win streak.
Yeah, I remember that game. That's when Luke picked him off at the end of the game, right?
I think it was Leicester, but it was a Monday night game. We were up 24-20. He was driving down. I think they were like on the 18 or something like that. And Tom goes up and he throws like a kind of like a last minute Hail Mary, but he threw it short. And I think he was kind of throwing it short on purpose to try to get a pass interference and then get the handoff or 1 yard play or whatever. Anyway, so long story short, so you're right. Luke ended up PIing Gronk. He just grabbed him. He just totally grabbed him and tackled him, and the ball was underthrown. And we ended up, one of our young safeties ended up picking the ball. They threw the flag, called pass interference, but then they picked it up. And then Tom went nuts on
that. Bananas.
He went crazy.
That was that game. Yeah, that was that game. It was like uncatchable or something like that. I don't know what it was.
So was one was really good, one was controversial. So all right, go ahead.
Well, at least you got a chance to beat him. So mine was we had practice with him, Chip Kelly, when he first got there, and over those 2-3 days, he missed 3 passes. These are competitive drills, Q. We practiced with him 2 days. He missed 3 passes. And the 3 passes that he missed, 2 were drops, and 1 was doing a walkthrough. Facts. It was like 45 for 48 over the 2 days, like in competitive drills. And that last walkthrough one turned into like a competitive drill, and the dude stopped running. The ball was on the money. He just stopped running. Tom cursed him out. He literally would have been like 50 for 50, 48 for 48 the entire if there weren't 2 drops and the dude didn't, run that ball down.
Wow.
Like the defense was like, dude, this is unreal. The coaching staff was like, this is, we looking at Mike Vick like, man, why can't you do that?
It's crazy. And the last part on that too, like the thing, and everybody's kind of said it, but the thing that's crazy is that like he got better as he got older.
Man,
like you look at his stats and all that stuff, and the way he threw the ball. I mean, the older he got, the better he got. That don't make sense, man. How?
It was strategic though. He had to move away from New England, get away from them 6, 7, 8 games in the cold.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that ball gets
to
dropping. You don't have the velocity anymore. You come down where you're warm and loose in that Florida sun. You get a few extra games in. We playing home field throughout the playoffs type of thing. He's like, man, listen, I could do this for another 3 years. But you playing up there in New England, you got your last 7, 8 games of the year is cold, and with the old arm, cold and old arm. No, he down there in warm. So that was a great move by him. And freaking if Antonio Brown doesn't go AWOL, they may still be playing.
I know.
Like they could have avoided, overcome Godwin. I would say Tristan Wirfs and AB, but if that doesn't happen, they got an opportunity. They're probably still definitely they would have probably represented playing against the Rams or something like that, or not the Rams, but could be playing in the NFC Championship or representing the Super Bowl. Could have beat the Rams, I meant. All right. Let me do this Manscaped read. Support for the Q&A show is brought to you by Manscaped, the champion of the world for men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard it right, 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code QA at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. I've tried the 4.0, and I'm blown away with the craftsmanship and details are second level. Nobody wants to get hurt down there. You know what I mean. So Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer has a cutting-edge ceramic blade that reduces those accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. You got to be comfortable down there. This upgraded trimmer also has a multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock and has a 4000K LED spotlight that can turn on and off for more precision on your shave. The new lawnmower even allows you to customize your trim with guard length sizes 1 through 4. How about wireless charging? Their new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction to help the battery last longer. Men, you can't use the same trimmer on your nuts and face. Nobody needs pubes in their mouth. Get your own ball, hair, and body trimmer with Manscaped. Make me time the best time, like Jason Avant always does. Get 20% off and free shipping with code QA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code QA. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped, and your balls will thank you.
All right. So Senior Bowl's coming up. All-Star game time of the year. All right. Did you go? You went to the Super Bowl, the Senior Bowl, right?
I did.
Tell me about the Senior Bowl, man. Tell me about your experiences.
Meat market. It's one of those experiences where it's very, very nerve-wracking. They, make you, the first day you get there. You have to go in front of all of the player personnel guys in your underwear, basically, just like the combine would be. They're looking at you, they're poking at you, they're prodding at you, they're trying to see who you are, type of thing. And then, there's a bunch of interviews in between practices. So a coach from Kansas City may call you. They know where your dorm room is. They want to have a meeting with you. So they want to pick your brain about certain stuff. So they do that in between time. On the field, it's very, very hard to simulate the game. And that's the hardest part, because practice has a different feel from the game. So these practices are being evaluated like a game, but it's kind of practice, right? So, and then you don't know the timing of this quarterback. We had, a bunch of different quarterbacks. We had Mike Robinson, who couldn't throw at all. Then you had Jay Cutler, who could throw and only knew one speed, which was 1,000,000 miles per hour. You had a guy like Charlie Whitehurst, who only can throw it, very slow. It's just a wide range of stuff, right? Charlie Whitehurst, who throws, very soft. Jay Cutler, who throws gas, and then Mike Robinson, who can't throw at all. And yes, he went to Penn State, and yes, he played fullback in the NFL, but he was a quarterback at Penn State. That lets you know how garbage Penn State was in that time. No, to be fair to Penn State, they almost made it to the national championship that year, but Michigan and yours truly knocked them out, so they couldn't get there. Mario Menahan back in the end zone. Pop. I did all of that for my man Jeff. So, Jeff, congratulations on not making the national championship in 2005-2006 season.
Robinson was a good fullback.
He played.
Yeah, he played for the Niners.
Yeah, he was
Seahawks.
he was a good athlete, so they would use him for everything at Penn State. He would be the ball, running back, fullback, quarterback, everything. They use him for everything. But that was one of my quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. So you had all of these different guys, so it's hard to adjust to them. And and you didn't have much practice, so you had to like be very precise. I didn't do well my first day because of I just didn't do well. I wasn't prepared for it to be that structure. But every day after that, I did really well. But I remember, my first day, I dropped the pass, and everything was like, "Oh, Jason Avant dropped the pass." All the media and all that stuff, and it was just such a big story. Like, "Oh, his stock is dropping." I was like, "Dang, I just dropped the pass. Like, I didn't do anything else. I dropped one pass. Like, what's the problem?"
Crazy,
and it was like, "Oh, his stock is dropping." So it was a lot of pressure for practice, and I remember that. But it was a fun time being with all those guys. And then, so because it was practice, they told you the thud. And because it was so much pressure, it turned out to full out hits, right? I remember this guy we were like, I was trying to like size him up for a run play, and he runs through me. And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know who I am, do you?" Like, I was like, "Oh, that's what you want to do?" Man, I destroyed him. He's not playing in the NFL, but I destroyed him the next few times we played. Like full speed, right into him. Like after one was a passing play. He was running, chasing the ball after the guy caught him, and I got it. I was like, like you will never do that again. Like, what are you doing?
You called down the thunder.
I remember that. Oh man, I was good. I was, choir boy. I was like, "Man, we're gonna do this the right way. I'm just getting position. He gonna run through me." I'm like, "Oh, okay, see, you want to bring out the South Side." You want to bring out the Wild 100 Jasons. All right, he's still in there. Let's go.
Oh man, I love it.
So yeah, what you didn't play in a Senior Bowl, but you played in the East-West Shrine game. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, so I wasn't good enough to go to the Senior Bowl, unfortunately.
You played long in the league. You were good enough. They just couldn't see.
So yeah, I think it was I'm aging myself. 2002, 2003, one of those years.
Ooh, 2001. Yeah. Well, Usher was hot back then.
I know, man. You make me want to leave the world. But yeah, no. So I went to the East-West Shrine game. I actually was surprised. I didn't know much about it. I learned a lot when I was out there. It was a good experience. Very similar to what your experience is like. I would say probably a little less of a meat market. We got there, you get off the buses, they check you out, they meet you and all that stuff. But I don't remember, like we weren't half naked. We had, had clothes on. I remember one of the first things we did was we took that Wonderlic test though. And I'll never forget that.
Senior Bowl? Maybe it was Senior Bowl. I was thinking that was the combine, but maybe it was Senior Bowl, the Wonderlic test. But go ahead.
Yeah, I never heard nothing about this. This is my first time. Like, what'd you give me a pencil for? What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta take this test. I'm like, oh hell. So I don't even know what my score was. I'm sure it was great though. I'm sure it was great. I probably had a perfect score. I mean,
you had the 43 out of
the highest score in the Wonderlic ever. So we did that, and it was cool. It was a great experience. I got to meet some of the guys that were on the team. Nnamdi Asomugha, guy named Hannick Milligan who played safety for a while. Guy named Terrence Keel, who he played safety for a while. He unfortunately passed a few years ago. Mike Doss, you remember Mike Doss from Ohio State? Yeah. He was on the other team. There was quite a few good safeties that were on that team, on that field that year. We had it was good. It was a good experience. It was good. It was fun. The game, I didn't enjoy the game as much. We played in San Francisco's old stadium, the baseball team. So we were like kind of in the outfield.
Candlestick.
Yeah, Candlestick. No, I don't think it was it Candlestick?
Yeah, Candlestick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I don't know. It was a good experience. We had fun, but it was not what I was expecting. And, I totally. It was, like I said, it wasn't as bad as my experience was in terms of the meat market stuff as you had to deal with at the Senior Bowl, and it's only gotten worse over these years. But I just remember hanging out, meeting everybody. and just having a good time. And then when we got on the field to compete, we just went out there to play hard and not get injured and have fun, man.
The thing I remember too is that Mobile is maybe one of the worst cities I've ever been to in my life. Being from the South Side of Chicago, a Chicago guy, being near Detroit, go around. I've traveled DC, California, everywhere by that time, and I got to see. But I'm like, Mobile. I was trying to find a place to eat. I had to go like 25 minutes away from where we were staying. It was terrible. And then it was like super country, like back roads. You needed a car. There was no buses or no trains. And there wasn't Uber back then, right? There was no taxis by the hotel. They just put you in this remote place. I was like, oh my gosh, man, nobody ever wants to come back to Mobile, Alabama. So at least you guys can put it in like Miami or something. like give us help us out. Little something. Atlanta. Can we do Atlanta then? If we can't do Miami, can we do Atlanta?
Miami might be
maybe too much.
Might be too much.
But at least give me Birmingham, Alabama. Don't give me Mobile. Something. So I remember that, but it was a fun time. The thing I do, one of the few things I remember as well is that Friday, because you play the game, I think on Saturday, that Friday, there's no more scouts there. They just come there for Wednesday and Thursday, and that's it. Or if you practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they come for those days, and that's it. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, y'all want to evaluate us based on. I was like, dude, let us play the game and evaluate the game. That was my thing. So I was like, I'm gonna do way better in the game than I would with practice. So that was confusing to me. But other than that, it was it was weird. So
that is weird. I mean,
you would think that there was no scouts there for the game. It was crazy.
Yeah, you would think you would want to see them and see you guys in actual game-like situations, close, in uncomfortable situation. Because, like you said, this is a new quarterback. You got to adjust to that. This is a new coach. You got to adjust to that. You want to see how someone adjusts in a situation like that so quickly. So yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of weird that they just left.
Yeah. So, but Howie and Jeff is there now evaluating guys. Again, this is just the Senior Bowl. It's not the best players. All, the juniors and the guys that the redshirt sophomores, some of the higher picks and things that they're not all there. Some of the elite players don't show up to the game because their draft stock is already kind of solidified. So it's only a few players that are there. I'm not going to speculate on who's there. We'll give you guys more details about those things next week. But we're running kind of late in this show. Wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate you this year for supporting the Q&A show. We have one more show left, and we want that show to be dedicated to you guys. Send your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Again, insidethebirds@gmail.com. Next week's show is for you. It's our last show of the 2021-22 season. We'll see you guys in a few months talking about the offseason, talking about the potential draft picks and all of those things. A lot of research to do, a lot of work to be done, but we want to appreciate you guys for this year. Thank you so very much to Jeff, to Hunter, to Adam, Josh, everyone that's responsible at Inside the Birds. Q, you got the final words of this show, and next week you'll have the final words, the last show of the year.
Absolutely, man. As always, like I said, man, I enjoy this times. I enjoy learning from you and picking up some stuff every now and then. And
we learn from each other.
Yeah, and fans, it's been a great ride. We're going to continue this thing and continue to have fun with it and make the show better. And make sure you send those questions in. Thank you to everybody that helps us put the show on. And it's been awesome. It's been a great ride. Let's go. Let's keep it going.
Hey.